we do this every week. We have an episode every week, and folks, we're just going on 2 months now. And the reason I made the decision, along with everybody that works with us, to start the show is we do live in a very fast-paced, moving world. And when it comes to real estate, and that's what we are. This is a real estate-based show. Well, real estate, everybody, is about 25% of our economy. So it's everything from the house that we live in, whether we rent it or we own it, the curb appeal, what's around it, the amenities. Am I within walking distance from what's important to me? What affects the market? Is it going up? Is it going down? What's happening? And we all, there's a lot, it's no one home is the same. So real estate is a process for people versus what we call a transaction. It's a process. And there's a lot to do, and things are different for different people. But one of the things that I recognized is it's a process. However, everybody's reasons for doing this could be varied and different. And for those that are watching, who's Michelle? Who am I? What do I do? We all have different backgrounds when we come into this space. And there are a lot of people that may come into real estate, and they'll come into real estate and right as the moment they get their license, they want to get out there, they just want to start selling. But they may not necessarily have familiarity or aware of it. Okay, where are they going to focus? How am I going to succeed? And in real estate, folks, it's pretty much, you're self-employed. You're running your own little mini business. Every homeowner, this is a lot of money. This is one of the biggest investments that they could make. So why did I decide to get into this space? I thought of this at the age of 21 and decided that, nope, not the right time. Young, at the age of 21, made a few decisions real estate wise that cost us money, about $10,000. We had to pay every cent back. And then I was going to go into the industry in 2004, but by that time I was not in real estate. I was in what we call education background and technology background. And I had a small team that I was growing, and I really loved the idea of helping people with knowledge, helping people with people that could go in there and help them with what they needed to do. So what I essentially did was everything technology. We did training, consulting, help desk support. And then we got into other areas where we started to understand how people work together. So all this background that I had a bit of an understanding of it's more than just personalities when people work together. And if you've never done it before, you may not necessarily know the teeth that go into what you need to do to get business going. Absolutely, yes, just the same as real estate, folks. The moment that a realtor comes into this industry, they need to be working and they need to be making money. If we don't have money coming in the door, we don't survive very long in that industry. So I knew that right out of the gate, when you come into real estate, there's a lot of different things that we can do, but we kind of want to focus on the stuff that makes revenue. We're helping people, but we've got to understand that we really need to be looking at working with people that are ready. Well, how do you do that? Because people just don't wake up every day and say, oh, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to drop 500,000. And I found that before I came into this industry, I thought I knew. I didn't have my perception of real estate, my perception of how it all works was so different than when I got into the space. So because of that, I also feel very compelled to educate our buyers and sellers that it is a process, it's not a product. And I took this background I had and I put it into real estate, but I found that I was doing more of the how we build it, the systems, and how do we show up. So real estate is supply and demand. Well, supply. Well, what is supply? Supply is, as a professional and as a licensed realtor, and we're running, and I'm running, whether you're running a team or you're independent, do you know your inventory? Do you know? Because in real estate, what are you doing? Your inventory are properties, but the properties could be commercial, they could be residential, they could be condos, they could be towns, and I could go on. But it basically is where somebody would live, whether they're going to rent it or they're going to own it. And every property is different. So the first thing that I started to think of is, do I know my inventory? Do I know what's going on in Ontario? How do we know that now is the time, now is not the time? And the other thing about real estate that I find fascinating is the life cycles of real estate. There are three. The prices are either scaling up, the prices are either scaling down, or they're flat. That's the three markets. That's the three different types. We have in real estate over time watched it go up, but it's economy. So my view on this is real estate is one of the biggest businesses in all time. It's also one of the longest. And you are absolutely correct. And we are correct in understanding that when people are thinking about buying a home or selling a home, it's a big decision. We may not know where they are in that process. And as a realtor gets in, the other part of it then becomes, how are they growing? How are they, once they have a conversation with somebody or they're thinking of helping somebody, where are they putting that information? How are they keeping in touch? I'm going to share a couple of things, folks, that since we're on, and a little bit about me. So most of my background was, we called it corporate education. I sold brains. I would put two people together or three people together, and they had to go into a large enterprise organization and help implement something, or help, they might have trained them and then they did consulting and help them just transfer that knowledge. And in real estate, no, it's a bricks and mortar. We're selling properties, but it's still all about making sure we have the right information and how we're helping. And if people are just out there pure for the sales and for the revenue, that's fine. That may be what you're growing, and that's absolutely okay. I found in my experience, it's really more about having the right information aligned to the right people. Like I really, truly, immensely care. When I came into this industry, I found that homeowners, and the stats were a little bit shocking. When there's polls done, the polls have been taken by most, people that, would they go back to the same realtor that they currently work with? How do they find their experience, et cetera? And about 70%, yeah, they said they would work with the same realtor that helped them with their first home. They would go back to them, of course. And that when they took a look at what people really did, they found that 90% of the people did not go with their realtor. They went with the first person that might have approached them, or the flyer that came in the mail, and most, the other thing they found very interesting is they don't necessarily go out there and do a lot of interviewing. And I found that fascinating, but it didn't shock me, because when you understand a little bit how brains work, and then you look at, well, people buy from people we trust. So if I'm in the process of looking at selling my home, then I want to be able to trust who I'm working with, which it's really based on that. So I recognized that. I took the background that I had, and I had to look at the system. I had to look at how much time it was taking us to use that database or use this, or where the information was. The second thing I found was, as we're growing, we really wanted to get to the point where we are really managing our own marketing. And that was also because the other space I came from, we did some of that. We did that. And I just felt, the world that we're in today, and for those that are watching, you guys may or may not be able to resonate with this, but this world we're in today is moving very quickly, and there's a lot of noise that exists. And we kind of sometimes think that, oh, well, if I don't want to bother people, or I don't want to do too much. And I said, in this market, folks, we really want to be the over communicators. We want to be touching our customers. We want to be letting them know it's up to us. I feel as realtors, we're the ones that have to ask the right questions. And if we ask the right questions, we get the right information coming back. So real estate it's not a complicated industry. It's supply and demand. And you have people that are either looking at trying to get information, they need to know where things are. They just want to see where the market is, or I want to see what my home is worth. I know for me and my husband, I'll be very honest. Prior to coming into this space, I was very much of a doer. And I had another company, and that company helped companies grow. So I took the background I had and I opened up my own company in 2010. And in 2008, I actually opened up a non-for-profit association. And it was really great. And most of the background I came from, I sold into the government. So I got very familiar with how the government works, what they're doing. And fascinating, I'm looking at Ontario, and I thought, yeah, we saw this happen in 2005 when they put in infrastructure, Ontario, because real estate, the number one drivers, if for those that are watching, folks, I cannot emphasize this enough, immigration. Immigration. We have so many projected people coming in to move to Ontario. And folks, we are a country, we're a mosaic country of immigration. We have to continue that. We bring in a lot of talent. We've been fighting what we call the talent war for almost 2 decades, where we want to bring that talent in. So when we look at real estate and we can see it as an economy and watch what's really happening, that data echoes the truth. And I love to interpret that data and share it with customers and work with us. Of course, realtors, just follow us, listen. It really is about that interpretation. And when we can bring that back to our clients, or we can advertise, we have our own marketing, we can advertise and bring that back in, then we're really helping people make decisions based on truth versus maybe myth. People buy from people. So this is the other thing that I learned quickly. I came into this industry because I cared. I took some time to think about it. I have a husband that believed in me, that I could do this, and my partner, Roy. And since we've evolved, I now have a partner here in Hamilton and Oakville and Burlington. And her name is Cindy Zupanovic. So folks, there's a little team behind us in what we do. It's important. It's kind of like a marriage, if you will, where you want to be working with the people. It's a synergy. Real estate is it's a legal-based industry. We are representing our clients, we're representing our buyers and our sellers, and I take it seriously. I don't take it at, oh, it's just a home and, oh, don't worry about it. This is a legal-based industry, and for those that may not be aware, if you want to get your license, you now go to Humber College. So the government will continue to raise the bar on the accreditation. It's important. When I came into this space, what I found shocking was this. Every single homeowner is really running their own little business. That's their house. It's one of the biggest investments they probably purchased. So they have their own, what we call P&L, how much it costs to maintain that home. And that home, if they own it and they own it over a period of time, they pay the mortgage down on it, they got equity. Market's going up. So there's people that may have had 200, 300, 400, a million, 2 million, depending on what client you work with, equity built up into that house. But your home is worth what the market will pay. And that's only point in time. So I found that there are, like, it's not just, I'm not selling you a cup, folks. I'm selling you one of the biggest investments that I've purchased. So as a homeowner, I felt that a lot of homeowners are like chief financial officers. And coming from that corporate world, my number one aha moment was this. If I have a company, or if I work for a company and I'm out there and I'm trying to sell my service to that company or my product to that company, then I have to figure out who the buyers are and who the need is and do the homework. And I got to go in. If it's a big, huge company, enterprise, I may have to go get more people to all buy into the same idea. And then I also may have legal that I have to also get involved, that have to buy into that idea. And there's lots of different people. And I could spend, for example, a year on that. And it may or may not come to fruition. It could stop at the lawyers. Well, in real estate, if every homeowner is kind of like a chief financial officer, that's a lot of money that you're just kind of handing. And if you are looking at trying to sell your home yourself, or you're a buyer out there trying to buy, there's, when we are selling 99% of the time, we want to be able to get the most amount of money for the home. And maybe in the shortest amount of time, we may not want that home on the market for 3 months, 8 months, 10 months. So how do I get that home ready to make sure that I am getting the most amount of money for it? Or am I just, okay, put it on the market and it's great? It all depends on the neighborhood. It depends on what that neighborhood might bear in market value. I've seen people put fantastic work into their house, but yet the neighborhood, what that neighborhood could yield for a home, that person put too much money into that home. They're not going to get that back out. I've seen that happen in the $1 million neighborhoods, and I've seen that happen in the $300,000 neighborhoods. And that homeowner thinks they're going to get that money back out. So they think they might be able to sell that house for, let's say, $100,000 more than what all the other homes are going for. But if there's another home on that street and that person did great top work, but they got maybe an extra 10,000, that one that has 100,000 more, they may not be able to yield that back. So the sooner that we have conversations with our customers, the better. When I talk to our customers on the phone, or if we have a lead that comes in and I'm following up, I'm converting, I find this amazing. There's a lot of concern where they may say, oh, I'm just looking. And the first thing that I say is, oh my gosh, thank you. That's all I wanted you to share. Because I'm not there to pitch and sell. I'm there just to educate. People can't make decisions on what they don't know. So I feel from our experience coming into the space that when we approach it more from a consulting kind of perspective, we're professionals. I know what I know, but I know what I don't know. And if I don't know it, I'm going to go access. And I already have my teams, if you will, and advisors that I'll reach out to get the information. Knowledge, you need to know your knowledge, folks. This is a industry that I really feel it's a privilege to be a realtor. It's not quick. You're running a business, folks. Some of the other company that we have that helps companies grow, it's H2H, Strategic Marketing. It's my other company that I started in 2010, and I approach things very differently. I didn't do cookie cutter. Everybody might have a different vision for what they want to do, and a lot of times we can get busy doing things that might not make a company money, and we think it's making money, and we've that's not fair. You want to come from a place of serving and a place that you're giving value. So when I had that opportunity to bring that all into CC Realty, and I first partnered with Roy Cleves. I've known Roy for 25 years and his family. When Cindy and I came together, Cindy's been with me pretty much from early on in the time that we got started. And, we're very blessed. Cindy Zupanovic, if you've not heard her. And the reason why Cindy was not able to be with us today is Cindy's in the middle of negotiating. She's in the middle of an offer. The market's moving. The market's been really busy. The market, folks, we're still seeing in the Hamilton, Burlington area, we're seeing still bidding wars. We're seeing the price points not stay. We're seeing the homes sell. Now, the other thing I just want to share is sometimes homes may sit. They may not sell right away. They may not sell, and it could be a variety of reasons. But the other what we find in experience is if a home has not sold in a certain kind of a market, and it's strong right now, there's not a lot of inventory out there. And if it's there, it could be that maybe it wasn't priced accurately. So when we do comparables, or what would a buyer pay for, as much as a homeowner may want to get such an amount for their house, do we just list it because then people can see our name and our brand, or are we really there to help them sell it? That's kind of where my consultant hat kicks in. Coming from the background of technology, and whether we call it corporate training and consulting, there were solutions that we had to come up with. And I find real estate very similar. Folks, we got to come up with solutions. It's thinking outside of the box, versus it's not just checking off, but it's thinking outside of the box. Every purchaser, whether you're a first-time home buyer, you're a move-up buyer, you're a move-down buyer, you're an investor, your criteria is going to be different. And I think it's such a importance that realtors and people like us can really uncover that. And it's not uncovering it kind of in a 5-minute phone call and somebody shares, well, I'm just looking for a three-bedroom house, 2-bedroom bath, and just send me listings. Love to. If I want to send you, I could probably be sending you about 10,000 listings. That's a difficult criteria to go on. When we have an opportunity to show someone through a virtual buyer's meeting, because remember, COVID's here, guys. So we do a lot of this virtually. If we do a virtual buyer's meeting, and from whomever, and for those that are watching us, if you're a realtor, I encourage you, virtual, when you have the opportunity to sit with your customer, get on a Zoom call or Cisco or whatever the tool is that you're using. If you even WhatsApp is secure, at least there's a video portion, but on a Zoom, for example, what I want to do is I want to bring up a few properties based on their description. That's important. I bring up those properties based on the description, and I'm able to watch my customer's body language, reaction, and I'm going to get one of two things. No, or, oh, that's kind of interesting. I need that because that's going to tell me that we're in a line to what they like. Everybody has a different style they like. What I might like, they may not like. So when we're trying to explain this just over the phone, it's not easy. Anybody have ever played what we call the telephone game? And for those that are my age, you might remember it. It's where we used to have, we might have, let's say they got 10 people all lined up. First person, we're going to give them a description of something, and they got to repeat it to the next person, the exact same, the same description. By the time you get to the fifth person, the description has changed. Or there's another little example. When you put two people in a chair back to back, one person has a picture and they have to verbally describe that picture to the other person, and the other person has to write it. So folks, it's not easy to interpret what people will say, it's a 2-bedroom or this, but if we get 5 minutes of somebody's time, jump on a call, we can virtually pull up a board, get an idea what they're looking for from the visual. It is the way we should be, in my opinion. So I look at real estate a little bit differently, and that's okay. I'm a bit of an upside down thinker. I think that's okay. I just feel it's such a privilege to be in this industry and help. And it's not the only thing that we do. Real estate makes up 25% of the economy. And when COVID came, COVID affected everyone. So what are we going to do about it? So then we do something about that. So just everybody needs a place to live, whether you rent or whether you own. Real estate is also a vehicle to grow your wealth. And at the end of it, guys and folks and everybody that's watching, it's a big investment. It is an investment because when you're a first-time home buyer, you're making a decision to invest in yourself first. If you are moving up, you make a decision to invest again. If you decide to get a second property, that's an investment. If you decide to get a third property, that's an investment. But there's different criteria in those areas. I came from a different space, like many people coming into real estate come from all different forms, lawyers and doctors and nurses and admin and like just waitresses, they're all, but it is a business. It does require putting in the focus, if you will, and really understanding where do I, it's the 80-20 rule. Well, in real estate, we call it a 90-10. 10% of what I do needs to give me 90% of the results. But how do I know what that 10% is? So there's a lot of great, wonderful, we can have great conversations, but we're there to help people get across the finish line. And for those that may be watching, we took the intel in helping companies grow. We put that into CC Realty. Cindy Zupanovic is my partner here in Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville area. We work with another lady that supports us. Her name is Nicole Ransom. She's also with us. But it's important, folks, to understand there's only so much time. We want to be working on the things that we're helping these people get into their properties. And CC Realty, we're doing the CC Realty shows. So Michelle Carty, yes, I kind of the engine behind a lot of this stuff, but I care at the end of the day. And I think it really is about, we continue to give the right information to the right people and they can make decisions, but it's difficult to ask them to make decisions when they are not informed. So if we can help make informed decisions, when somebody sees their dream home, they're gonna either, I can't do it because they haven't done the homework and they realize, oh, or let's get the homework done now so we know what you can afford, and then your dream home comes across, you're able to get your dream home. But if we don't get the homework done in advance, or the reverse, if we don't do the homework or we don't really understand and we're ready to do something, we may end up overpaying for a price. We don't know. So CC Realty, keep following us, folks. Once a week, we bring on different guests to interview, and we keep the range pretty broad. Today was about our team, and it just so happens our team's out there, we're working. So I wanted an opportunity to just share a little bit about Michelle. Next week, for those that are watching, I encourage you, for every single person that is hearing this program right now, I ask you this: do you want to pay more in your hydro bills and more in your utility bills, or less? The other question that I ask is, if you own buildings or land, and you'd like to see how you could reduce the amount of utility costs that you pay, or you have land, you might have a lot of land, and you may have a lot of people knocking on your door and they want to give you under market value and they'll buy your land. I want you all to know you have a choice. So next week we have a special guest. His name is Robert Lafort. And Robert he owns a company called Newtopia, and it's an eco-based solution. It's not a small company, folks. This company is, well, it's almost worth $1 billion. And this company has been doing some incredible work in the real estate realm, helping many corporations reduce their footprint on their utility costs by equipping green energy solutions. And they've also been working with landowners. You might have 2 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres. And you may want to keep that land. You might want that land to stay in your family, but that land, it's costing you money to serve it. You don't have to sell it, folks. There's an option out there to leverage it. And Robert is able to educate us on how. There's a way you can leverage your land. It still stays in your name. You may lease it out. You might partially lease it out. And it may be a business, but this is an area that he has a lot of expertise in, and it's just rapidly growing in his arena. Smart grids. Do I want to build a community? Maybe it's a developer, and the developer is now thinking about building a smart community. You want to have Robert Lepore as part of your best practice advisor. So I want to get him introduced to everybody. He's going to come in, great topics that he has. Register for that. We're on Eventbrite every week. CC Realty Show. Keep following us. And anybody that has any questions at all, real estate related, just think 25% of the economy, just ping us, reach out to us, Google us, we're easy to find. So we're CC Realty Group South. When you see us, you'll either go to Kitchener or you'll come to Burlington. So everybody, I just wish you guys a great, we're Thursday, and just keep smiling, keep helping people. and have an awesome balance of your day. And thank you for watching.